Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Asus Republic of Gamers GTX980 Matrix Platinum. It's basically their top flight, as high as it's going to get, the most crazy GTX 980 that they're going to do. So we have the card here, but actually we also have the card here. Because, yes, that's right, as you've probably seen by the title anyway, we're going to be doing SLI. So the cards are 1241 megahertz base clock, 7000 megahertz on the memory clock, but it boosts up to 1342. Now I know a lot of people are going to be hoping that they've got more memory, possibly 8 gigabyte, but they are just the stock 4 gigabyte, like the NVIDIA reference design would have been. I'm just going to subtly get rid of the box. So here we go. It basically, if you've seen a Matrix card before, it looks like a Matrix card. It looks exactly the same as the 780 Matrix, 780 Ti Matrix, 290 Matrix. Well, apart from the 290X Matrix didn't have the tabs. It's got the big brace down the side, got the annoying LEDs here that change colour and go green and blue and God knows what else. But the heatsink's all black, which I totally adore. All the heat pipes are black. As you can see, all the heatsink inside is black. It makes it that little bit extra stealthy. I do really like that. 2x8 pin for power. The back plate, I do think it could have been a bit more subtle maybe, but I suppose, you know, that's just being too picky. As you'll see when it's inside in a minute, the LEDs, when you plug it in, they're actually white, which is really nice. There is the V checkpoints down the side. You have got a Sub-Zero mode, and there's also a connection here. Do not connect this unless you're trying to defrost the card. This is literally just to heat all of the memory up. So do not plug this in if you're just a normal user. It's only for Sub-Zero use, and it's only when you're trying to defrost the memory chips. So that isn't something you plug in normally. Anyway, so we have one, we have two. Let's get them both in the rig and see what it looks like. Bit of soft focus, otherwise known as blur. But still, when it does come into focus looking like that, it is rather pretty. This is the test rig that we're going to be running today, and obviously you've got the two Asus Matrix, Republic of Gamers Matrix GTX 980s in there. We've got an AX1500i powering them, but as I'll show you later on, that is massive overkill, but I just run the same power supply for everything, and this is been in there from when I've been doing Crossfire 295X2s, and it just saves messing around. Off of those, off of the power supply and making everything all look rather pretty, if I zoom in, are the new cable mod cables. They're the black and red ones. They do them for Corsair power supplies, Seasonic power supplies, and Corsair, Seasonic. Get your words out, Tom. I can't remember the other one. I'm useless. EVGA ones. Anyway, so right, we've got the Asus Matrices in there. They're all hanging off of a Rampage 4 Black Edition. People have asked why I've not gone up to the Rampage 5. And that's because if I change the motherboard and I change the CPU, then essentially none of the graphs are going to work anymore. So we've kept this rig so that we've got lots and lots of data for comparisons. We've got 16 gigabyte of 2133 megahertz Corsair Dominator Platinum. The Dominator Platinums have got the light bar mods on as well, as you can see. If I was to turn this off, you can see the little lights. How nice, look at that. So we've got that lot in there. I turn this on, bing, and then we've got Corsair H105 in there for cooling. So that is the bench rig. Okay then, so on to power, and on the screen you can see that we've used Unigine Valley 2560 by 1440 at 8 times. Now this is a 4K screen, but we've always done it that way, and if we turn the resolution up to 4K, it actually uses a little bit more power. So the reason why we've kept it this way is it's fairer on all the other things in the graphs. But what we can see here, if we look up, 571.6. And when we bring the graph up, you can see 571 at the top is the SLI. And really the only thing above that that uses more power is when we've done stupid stuff, which has been the Titan SLI, which obviously the older models, and then obviously the 295X2. If we did the 295X2X2, that graph looks daft because it then goes up to, well, over 1300 watts. So that's the, that's the more sensible end of the graph there. Also, when you look at the single card slightly further down, 358 watts, you can see that it's only really the only thing that is a single card that uses more than that is when we did the GTX980 Strix, and that was with its overclock. That 358 is it at stock. If you want to see the stock results, then you can click the link in the video or underneath the video to go and have a look at the full results on the Overclock 3D forums, where you'll see all the game breakdowns, and you'll also see all the photos that we took of it and in the rig and all the arty-farty mumbo-jumbo shit that I done. But in the main video, this bit here, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the results that I got with them overclocked. In the main review on OC3D, you also get the single card results, because I've done single card results, 1920 by 1080, 1440 and 4K, and then we've done 1920 by 1080, 1440 and 4K in SLI as well. So we've done an awful lot of testing with these cards. But in this video section, what we're going to do is we are going to focus on the overclock results. Now, what I did manage to do with a bit of a voltage bump, and I don't normally do that, but these really did respond well to it. With a bit of a voltage bump, we managed to get the boost up to 1450 megahertz, which was a 1349 basic GPU clock. And then once the GPU Boost 2 had finished messing around with that bit as well, we were up to 1480 megahertz. Now this is two cards in SLI. Quite a lot of times with cards, you will find if you just run a single card, you'll be able to get them to go that little bit further as well. Two in SLI with an overclock, you generally do have to back them off a little bit. With these, I did notice that, because with this single card on its own in this rig, I did manage to get a stable overclock of 1530 megahertz on this section of the boost over here. So it was a bonkers overclock with a single card, but obviously we're focusing on two, the SLI, the all-out, gratuitous, ridiculous power. So when we go into the benchmarks, we can have a look at the 3D Mark Firestrike Ultra, 3D Mark Firestrike Extreme, and you can see we have got Cloudgate and stuff at the bottom as well. But top of the graph, boom, spanked right to the top, Matrix SLI. It's not really very surprising there. And then we've got the Asus GTX Matrix in there as well. Now the GTX Matrix, that is at stock, and that's without the overclock settings for a single card. And then if you have a look at the top, 10,278 is your dual card stupidity results. So 3D Mark 11, again, we've got the SLI at the top, and then slightly further down we've got the single card, but don't forget these are stock results. Moving on to games, we've got all of our 4K games in a single graph. So pause the video and you can peruse those at your leisure. It's 4K. The settings for all of the games would have been maxed out. Now I know a lot of people will say that we should have run the AA lower, but it's easier for us to just say, no, we just maxed everything out. Obviously, if you were to turn the anti-aliasing down on a 4K screen, you are going to get more performance. What's the point in having £1,200 worth of GTX 980s if you've not got all the Gucci settings turned right up? Okay then peeps, so moving on to the conclusion, and as always we will start with the award, and we're going to give both the single and the dual cards the OC3D Performance Award. I had a look on prices this morning, and on overclockers the GTX 980 Matrix was £599. It's actually the most expensive card 980 wise on overclockers at the moment, so there is an immense amount of money to lay out if you want to get your hands on one of these, let alone two of these as we've tested today. Now when we go into it, the Matrix is the real top end of the line. It's, as far as Asus is concerned and Republic of Gamers is concerned, it's as good as they're going to get with them. and they are built to be the best that they possibly can be. There are features on here like the defroster mode and like the LN2 mode and stuff that many users out there really aren't going to give a monkey's about. But as far as like high-end overclockers are concerned, when they were going to get one of, say for instance you're buying these to LN2, the first thing that you're going to do is take the air cooler off anyway and shove that to the side. So it's a bit of a two-way street there anyway. But for the normal ones among us, my tongue tied today. So the mainstream guys, the people that just want some E-peen, people that want it to look nice in their rig, people that want a game, maybe do a bit of overclocking. Overclocking wise, single card 1530 megahertz I got out of pretty well both of these. When you put the two together, as with a lot of stuff, to get them stable again, you sometimes do have to drop the clocks back off. But we still got 1480 megahertz with the boost out of two cards, and you've seen the performance numbers that they're chucking out. It's absolutely insane. Other things, black cooler. Let's face it, the ROG matrix design is almost like a Noctua fan. You chuck the Noctua fan in your rig, and you instantly know it's a Noctua fan, and you instantly know it's probably cost a small fortune. Same with the ROG stuff. You see that black and red in there, and you know someone's got a Republic of Gamers card in there, that they're going to have, you know, it's going to be a high-end bit of kit at the end of the day. I really like the strong black brace along the top. I like the black heatsink. It's the back plate is quite nice. I think they could probably swing a slightly plainer look with that. My only gripe with these cards, other than the price, is still these bloody lights on the side, and they change according to the load. Please, Asus, it's possible in the firmware. I know it's possible in the firmware. I've talked to your tech guys. Can you please just give us an option that we can change the colours ourselves and set them to one colour? Or make the decision for us and just make them fucking red. We don't want them going blue and green and stuff all the time. It looks horrible, it's off-putting, and I've said it on every launch. So it's just a bugbear. It's still there. Please sort it out. I know it's possible now. I've actually spoken to people about it. Just put it into the Asus software for the graphics card. Little thing. LED tuning, and then you can manually set it if you want. You know, it's not going to be that hard to roll out, is it? You don't even have to change the card. So maybe they'll do that. Probably they won't. We already know that. Performance wise, temperatures and stuff like that, in SLI the top card was getting to 80 degrees. But the reason why the top card was getting to 80 degrees is because even with that gap, it's still going to be sucking warm air off the card below. Individually, on its own, they were getting up to about 67 degrees, and we're talking about full load here after it's been closed in the rig, and we've had it running Unigine for like an hour and stuff. So that gives you an idea of not only the single card temperatures, but also the dual card temperatures. Now we said that the top one was the warm one, but obviously with the bottom it doesn't really, it's not got to, you know, struggle for air with anything else, nothing hot below it. So you get practically single card temperatures down on that bottom one. It's just the top one will always suffer because obviously the back plate gets warm, and short of making your rig an absolute tornado by shoving loads of fans in and completely spoiling and ruining everything, are you going to be able to rectify that? But it's a normal thing. It's not a derogatory thing against the Asus. It's just the way this stuff works. And I do have a decent airflow through this as well. It's just one of those things. But it earned the performance award because it's topped pretty much all of our graphs as far as 2 are concerned. So it's beat the 980 SLI that we did before. It's beat the 295X2 and stuff like that. It's, you know, it's pumped out some epic numbers. Also, what you need to consider is it's done very well in our graphs against the other cards as well. Now some of the other cards had larger stock overclocks, or we had overclocked them as well, like the Strixes. Well, we chucked this one in because if we'd had done another batch of tests, which would have been another overclocked set of tests for one card, another overclocked set of tests for 2 cards, I probably would have ended up spending like an entire week just testing this thing And it would have meant that in every single graph there would have been 4 of the results for this, which would have been absolutely insane. So I just cut the mustard and went, nope, we're just going to do the 2 stocks and we'll do a couple of odd overclock ones. But as I've already said, it overclocks like a monster, and both of these together were putting out almost 1500 megahertz. Individually, they were going above 1500 megahertz. Obviously, just for those beginners out there, it is going to come down to A, the silicon lottery, depending on how lucky you are. You might get one that goes even further. But B, it's also going to come down to your ability for overclocking as well. You're not just going to be able to get in there and max the volts out and max the fans out and hope for the best, because if you do that, it's probably just going to blue screen and turn off or run like an absolute pig dog anyway. You do have to do incremental overclocks and build up to it to work out when she's starting to get shaky and does she need a little bit more volts. But anyway, the conclusion has been absolutely enormous, and it didn't really need to be, because 1 card, brilliant, 2 cards, fucking epic. You just need a rather large wallet to be able to pay for them. But if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys, as a wise man once said to me. But anyway, this is Tiny Tom Logan with the Overclock 3D, or I should start saying OC 3D, because we're not going to be using Overclock 3D for much longer. OC 3D Performance Award winning Asus Republic of Gamers GTX980 Matrix. What a mouthful. That's what she said. I'm off.